welcome to Enquire to Choir. My name is Eva and I'm here to help you, fellow choir people. I know you came here for the answer because you saw the video's title, How to Choose Choir Repertoire, and I hope you find the answer you were looking for. But before I start, just a disclaimer. I don't know you. I don't know what kind of a choir you're working with or even the music genre you are working in. So I approached this video as a useful guide on how to think when you're choosing choir repertoire. I believe it's extremely important to think when choosing the right choir repertoire, because if you choose just random music, random pieces, random songs without any plan or logic behind it, it can be very bad for your choir. And in the long run, you could lose valuable time. If you're a bit more thoughtful about this, it can be very beneficial, I would argue. So let's dive in, how to choose choir repertoire. When you look at all the choir music there is, and you think, what to sing next? From my experience, all the music can be categorized in three groups. The first group is music you have to sing because you are a church choir, so you have certain music you have to sing every Sunday, for example, or you are going on a choir competition and the rules of the competition are strict and you have to obey them, etc. The second group of music is what you, the choir conductor, choir director, want to do with your choir. And the third one is what your choir members want to do. Bonus category would be what the audience wants to hear. And I'll explain why later in the video. If you're sitting there thinking, why the category of what the choir conductor wants to do? Well, I think the level of inspiration and motivation of your choir conductor reflects on your choir members in a great deal. So I consider that category very important. And if you're sitting there thinking, why does it matter what my choir members want to sing? I am their leader. I think it's very important for your choir members to be motivated and be happy. And if you keep giving them the repertoire they don't care about and they don't want to sing and they find it dull, I'm not so sure if they're willing to be in your choir much longer. That is the reason why I think that category should exist. In an ideal world, these three groups, these three circles intersect. Do we live in an ideal world? I don't think so. We all know intersection doesn't always exist. It's not always the case that it's possible for those three circles to intersect. When you think about these categories I mentioned, you realize one thing: you can't please everyone. But there is a circle you have to please, and that is the first one. Mandatory music is something you have to do by definition. However, mandatory music usually contains a lot of possibilities. When doing mandatory music, you can often choose the piece you want to do. To explain myself better, I will use Beethoven, for example. Beethoven wrote 32 piano sonatas, and at every piano competition, I almost said choir, at every piano competition, they say you have to perform one Beethoven sonata, but most of the time they don't tell you which one. You can choose which one is best for you. The same is with Bach's preludes and fugues. Try to think of these circles more like this. If you have mandatory music you have to do it, but in these mandatory music pieces you are able to choose from, try to choose what you would like to do as a choir conductor and what you think is good for your choir and what your choir members want to do. Sometimes that means to choose the best from all evils, and sometimes that means to choose the lesser evil, but that is life. How to choose the right Beethoven sonata, or how to choose what would work best for your choir? Well, I think it's about balancing the pieces that are easier and pieces that are challenging. I don't think every music piece they do should be very demanding, extremely difficult, exhausting to learn. You have to have a mixture, because if your choir members keep getting music that feels very unattainable to them, that can be very unmotivating. I'm not saying you should give easy music all the time. I'm really saying you have to have a mixture. It's really important for your choir to improve, and the only way it's going to improve is by doing more challenging pieces, more challenging music for them at that point in time. But they will not be motivated to do it if they're constantly bombarded with very difficult pieces. So that is why I am arguing that you have a mixture. What is challenging for your choir? This is a really difficult question because you have to be really realistic to answer it. You have to be able to objectively hear your choir and to recognize what the current state of the sound is, what problems do they have, and what you can work on this very moment. Story time from my experience. I've been working with this choir, my latest choir, for a year and a half. And at this point in time, I'm choosing their new repertoire. The kind of music I'm considering to choose for them is much more difficult than the music I was giving them a year ago. Their sound and their capabilities at this moment are 75% bigger than they were a year ago. Repertoire I am choosing for them now and the repertoire I was choosing for them a year ago is completely different because their beginning points are very different. But the only reason I am now able to say that they're 75% better than they were a year ago is because a year ago I was extremely realistic what they're capable of, and I had a clear goal where I wanted to take them with their choir sound and with the problems I have to solve in order to get them to that point. So because I was really realistic a year ago and I chose the appropriate repertoire, which was still a bit challenging, that is the reason why a year later I am able to choose for them more difficult pieces. That is the logic behind choosing the right choir repertoire. In my opinion, when you think about what to sing next, you have to think about these 5 things. Think about what your choir members are able to do at this very moment, what they're capable of doing when they're at their best, what they're comfortable with, what is the next challenge for them, and that could be expanding the vocal range, making the sound better, blend better, improving their pronunciation, their vocal technique, etc. And what is attainable. Please recognize this. When you think about what does my choir sound like at this very moment, you're in the present. So this is the present, and this is the next challenge. One challenge or many challenges. But this is the current state, the present state, and this is the challenge. You will work toward overcoming this challenge by thinking of what they're able to do, what they're capable of, and the work you're going to make them do or go through with them to make them achieve their goal or overcome this challenge. So this challenge, this hand, represents the next challenge and the music piece that is going to help them go through that challenge. What is attainable is in the future. What is attainable? What is available for them in the future? Where do you see them go in a year or so? And by going through a single challenge, a single choir piece, you are going to someday attain that goal you are thinking of. So think of your music piece you're going to choose for them as a way to solve a single problem they have, but think of them as part of the bigger trajectory. You're going from the present state through solving this challenge to get to a better choir. When you think about it that way, you plan it and there is a logic behind it. When you just choose randomly, nothing ever happens. Your choir is possibly not getting better because their progress is not monitored and it's not planned out. So think about the present, the next goal, and the future. Avoid single-use plastic. What I'm trying to say, try to avoid music piece that you can sing only once. That, listen very carefully, I shall say this only once, is not attainable in this video. When you think about it, it's very unmotivating. You put in all this time and effort and rehearsals and then you sing that piece just once. That's really sad when you think about it. I know that's not possible to avoid every time. There are special occasions, special orders, but try to avoid singing music that you are not able to put in your choir's regular repertoire. Be aware of your choir's identity. Be aware that every piece, every music you take on affects your choir identity. That means that you have to respect it, but you can also evolve if you wish to. Respect your identity and your choir's identity, but don't get stuck in it. This is a tricky one. Be careful of choosing music that has a certain connotation. This concerns politics, religion, a certain kind of a message. Every situation is different, but for me, what a choir sings is what they represent. Just have that in mind and think about the people in the audience. When it comes to the bonus category I mentioned a while earlier, what the audience wants to hear, why I consider it a bonus category, because sometimes in the audience you have people who are very knowledgeable about all the choir repertoire, for example, choir competitions. But sometimes the audience consists of people who are, you know, those kind of people who don't know any music, but when they recognize a single song you sang, they say that was the best one. However, I don't think the words "we want to be more commercial" are bad ones, especially if your choir fills the budget with paid performances. And finally, when it comes to the category music your choir members want to sing, if you watched my How to Motivate Your Choir Members video, you know about this. I think letting your choir members sometimes choose what they want to sing is a great way to motivate them, because if they sing the music they chose, they feel heard and they are, for the lack of a better word, motivated to sing in your choir. But if you listen to every random suggestion your choir members tell you in a conversation they have with you during the break or something, that's not a useful way to go about it. You have to be more organized about it. So the way I do it is like this. It's like Eurovision, which is a big deal in Europe. I tell my choir members, you can suggest as many songs you want. Then I make a list. I go through all the suggestions and I consider whether the songs are appropriate, attainable, and then I make a list. And I tell them, each and one of you has, for example, 5 votes. You can vote until this date, and the first, 5 songs we will most definitely do. And you get a much better sense of what your choir members want. I'm 100% sure that it will benefit your choir. But you have to make your promise. Don't do the whole competition and never do the songs. That is very, very wrong. Okay, I'm looking fluffy. That means that is it. I really hope this video was helpful. I also made a playlist of every video that can be helpful to you. There is a video about choir competitions, what to sing in a choir competition, how to plan the repertoire of a choir concert, what to do if you don't have enough repertoire for a choir concert. That was a Christmas edition video and it's very badly watched here on Enquire to Choir, and I cannot stress enough how beneficial that video could be to you. So if you watch just one video from the whole playlist, go to that video. How to motivate your choir members, how to plan your choir concert season, how to learn new music effectively, how to teach choir parts, how to start working with a completely new choir, and how to do the first rehearsal of the new choir season. That is all on that list. There are lots of bits and bobs in those videos that can help you choose the right choir repertoire. I just wanted to say thank you for being here, because there are a lot of new subscribers here and I keep getting a lot of great messages, which I'm very thankful for. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, you can like it to let me know. If you have a certain idea for your next video, you can comment down below. And if you wish to talk to me, you can email me or message me on Facebook. I try to reply to every single one of them. Okay, so that's it. Conduct well, conductors, and I'll see you next time. Bye!